And you're going to speak in English, I suppose? Yes. And I give the floor to you. Very welcome.
Okay. Do you hear me? Yeah? Well, thank you. I'd like to speak Swedish, but as French, I just know hey, IKEA furniture, and Dancing Queen, but it's in English, I think. I'll talk about Urungi, and before I present, I'm Gladys Cathelain, in French. I work in BibLibre in France, in Marseille. I think Andreas will talk about Hackfest in Marseille tomorrow, where we met. And I promote open source in this French company. And we promote open source only for libraries, only software, open source softwares for libraries. In this company, I promote Koha, and my interests are web interfaces and Fika. And it will come next. I see some of you in Marseille, I say, but in the KohaCon in Dublin too. And that's what's funny, because in Dublin, I talk just behind Joanna, who talked just before. So that's the same. So, why in BibLibre we interested in Urungi and dashboards? We have some customers that use Koha, of course, but that tell us that they want to use a tool for dashboards, but not only for Koha. Because in librarians you have a lot of information, a lot of data, and they are in different softwares, and they say it would be great if we can have just one software where we can have all this data and see all this data. So we try to find a software, and our key points, so for a business intelligence tool, is it has to be open source, of course, because we just do open source softwares, as I say. It has to be hackable by us, so it must be easy. But it must be easy to use for everyone too. Final users, so they can just run dashboards. Data analysts, so they can create dashboards, but easy and often. And for people that are not developers, but more are librarians. And we want it to be easy to deploy, because in BibLibre we have 200 customers. So it has to be really, really easy to deploy. So we watch for what is available, and we found open source that was fake pen source. It's a new name, but I think you know what I mean. Open source that requires developer skills for creating dashboards. So that's what's not so easy. Open source that is complex to use, deploy. So that's not what we want. And then came White Stage. So White Stage is alive. You can see it on whitestage.com. But we try to contact the developer, and we have no answers. So we decide to fork and start Urungi. And that's the history. So in few words, Urungi is for someone with technical SQL skills that can create layers. You can see it on the right. A layer is a not technical description, is just a view of the database, but all sorts of database. I'll tell you about Koha, but it could be other database. It could be a database that come from SQL, but Oracle too. Someone, a librarian, can create dashboards and reports using layers, and anyone can run dashboards. So I have a demo. Sorry. So it's easier to understand when you see it. You can go to the URL. I'll give it on the slides, and you can use test. Easy. So here I'm just a user, so I can't create layers, but I can use dashboards. Sorry, but for some words are in French because it's a French demo, but the software is in English. Yeah. So if you want to try it, you can download and you can begin to try. So if I come here at home, I have some dashboards that I can execute. I can have my own dashboards, and I think it's a thing that is more easier to understand. Is here I've got information that comes from the Koha database. So there's an English one and a French one. Here, in the English acquisitions, we have some lines that we find, some information that comes from Koha. So you can find other lines like BibLibre record number, like budget, like information from baskets, anything. You have all the information from the Koha database. And what we thought that will be easier for librarians that use Koha is for people that don't know how to use SQL. And for myself, I don't use SQL, but I can drag and drop. So if I want to find some information about some vendor name, I could take this, and I'd like to have some information about, try to find something interest. Quantity received, maybe. Okay, so I can do. Right, that's very interesting because it's a demo. But as you can see, I have just information, but I can change the chart and try to have something interesting. That's not the way, the good way. Sorry, I'll try another one. So I'll take some dashboards here. I think it's better. But what we can do is we can just take some information. I take anything that's not yeah. And we can add filters. Maybe like some libraries, if you work with most of the libraries, you can put a filter and you can choose the order keys. And finally, if you don't know how to use Urungi, there's an help for using it the first time, and it's quite easy. But I'll go to the dashboards. So now, my dashboards, I will take some information about customers. So it's in French, sorry. But as you can see, I can see by category. So the adults, the child, and there was someone that made the dashboard for me, and I just have to use it. But if I want to make my own dashboard, I can do it, like I try to to make it before. So we can have some information like by date, the months, and other things. And we have filters, as you can see, libraries, and category. We can export in PNG, PDF, and other things. So, if I look for other information, reports, I can duplicate, I can share with other people. And if I take another information, try to find something that's good, I can have reports that are just some list. Here, if I want to play this report, take a little time. Yeah, it's just a list. So it's not only statistic. It can be just a way to come in the database of Koha, another way. So, go to the rest. For the roadmap for Urungi is that we want to create layers for all tools that BibLibre support. For Koha, for our customers, we decide, it was a little bit fast, but I can go back. Here in my dashboards, we have all the layers for Koha for the French customers, so they just have to use it. It's for free. So I think it could be a good idea in Sweden, maybe, to think about the things you all need. Because in France, librarians have to give information to sometimes the town or the state, but there's all the same informations, all the same stats. So we decide to give them statistics that are ready to play. And we'll do the same with other softwares that we are supporting, like Omeka. I don't know if you know this, other softwares, open source softwares. And there are some features like receiving dashboards by email periodically, and caching dashboards, because as you can see, I was on just my phone, and it can take some time to have information from the database. And we'd like to connect Urungi with Mana. I don't know if you have talked here about it. Mana is you can use Mana in Koha. It's a way to share some information from Koha. Actually, it's sorry, I have my cheats because I don't for the words. For the frequencies, serials, you can share it with Mana. And the idea is to share layers and dashboards of Urungi in Mana too. So if people are doing dashboards that are really cool, really interesting, you can just import them. I'll show you here. So I log now as an administrator. And what you can do is to connect with a database. Here it was from Koha. And you can define rules, and you can add users. And then you can import other layers, reports, and dashboards. So if there's a library in Sweden that use Urungi and make dashboards, you can tell, hey, want it to, give me to. And you can send it by mail, and you can import. And you can export to share. And I think that was all. and it's the fika time, but before them, maybe there's some question.
Hello. Well, that raises some questions, I think. Someone would like to do a layer for the National Library statistics for us. Anyone interested? You nodded. Okay.
In the access part, maybe.
So do you have any questions?
In French?
Oui, une question. No, but when we've seen this before, and one of the questions then that I would like to repeat now is, can you now in Urungi combine multiple sources, like say you have Koha and another SQL database that you would like to combine the data to use them in Urungi? Is that possible?
Not again. But it's as you can see. No, you can see. Up here, the roadmap, and it's not here, so it's very difficult. But we'd like to. But it's an open source software, but it's only BibLibre that develop nowadays. So we do our best. But it will be very interesting, yeah.
Any more questions? Anyone?
The thing you can do, it's only to watch information from different databases. So it can be a way to find some information, but you can't just cross them.
Are there any anyone in Sweden using this already?
No, I don't think so. It's recent, yeah. It's about, we talk about Urungi since 6 or 7 months, I think. The first time we talk about it, it was at the Koha in Dublin. So it's new. Okay.
Okay. If not, it's fika. And before that, we thank you again with a little present from our collections.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Thank you. Tack.